For today's microsim, we'll be going through our admissions history and physical. So first thing you're seeing right now on screen is our patient's chart. On the left hand side here, you have your menu section, or also referred to as the table of contents. But the main section we'll be looking at for today's microsim is our provider view. And then when your provider view is open, you have these different tabs here. These tabs are called your M pages. So you have your inpatient workflow, outpatient workflow, your inpatient quick orders, and many other M pages that you can add on to your provider view. But again, for today's microsim, we're going to just be looking at our inpatient workflow M page. So within this workflow here, you have your new order entry that you can put in new orders through here. One of the areas that you would need to complete is chief complaint. So one example that we could use for this patient is, let's say, chest pain. When you enter in your chief complaint, just make sure that you sign it on the bottom right here. Next section that we'll be looking at is our problem list. So if you click on the problem list there, it'll open up your problem list with the numerous different ones that you can see in here for this patient. So we already see that there's chest pain here, but if you are looking to add in chest pain, up in your top right, you have your add problem search bar. All you need to do is search up what you need. So I have chest pain here, but it'll show numerous different ones that you can select, but I'm going to just use chest pain. And as you can see here, when I enter in chest pain, it's not gonna add in an additional chest pain. It would just leave it as is, as you can see here, so you can't double order the same problem for that patient. Other things you can do here is, let's say if you need to modify a problem, you can click on the problem name there, and then it's going to open up on the right hand side here where you see the information for that problem. And if you're looking to modify, just go ahead and click modify. And then this is where you can either change the diagnosis, you can change the clinical service, classification, confirmation, or even just add in additional details on the bottom here. And then once you're done, just go ahead and click OK. And then over here, it's just saying that there's a duplicate diagnosis, so I'll just go ahead and cancel. Other things you can do here is you can change the priority. So as you can see here, I already marked chest pain as priority number 1. Other thing is, let's say if abdominal pain is another problem that we would need to move up, we can go ahead and mark it as 2. As you can see there. Other things that you can see within the problem list is resolved chronic problems, and then also previous this visit problems. So you just click on the drop down and it'll open up. Another section that you will need to complete is our subjective history of present illness. So moving down here, I already have one that we've already saved, so I could go ahead and copy and paste it here. Once you put it in your history of present illness, all you need to do is click save, and that's going to save it in here. Next area that we need to complete is our reviews of system. So for this part here, this is where I'm going to mention something that's called dot phrases or even auto text. So for dot phrases, it's templates that you could generate and put it into any free text section where it will just speed up your workflow a lot more. It will just speed up your workflow essentially. So to use dot phrases, all you need to do is click on the dot or period on your keyboard. It's going to open up a bunch of different dot phrases that you can use. As you can see here, there's type to see more. So the one I want to use is dot ROS, and the one I'm looking for is ROS complete. So make sure that you know that these are all cap sensitive. So an example is if I put this in lowercase, nothing shows up. So you just want to be careful with this. If nothing's showing up, just know that it's probably just It's either in capital letters or in lowercase. So once I highlight the one I need, I'll go ahead and click enter on my keyboard, and I'll enter in that template within that free text section. So within each of these, you can see that there's brackets within each one. Just to quickly note, that is to work with the dragging dictation system, where you could easily move between each one within the brackets. So that's why there's brackets in there. But if you're looking to kind of just type it in yourself, you could always just go ahead and highlight it, delete, and I could just say with fever, chills, and sweat. So these dot phrases are very handy, and I'll recommend using them. And then once you finish and go through everything that you need and you're done, just go ahead and click save. And then moving on to the next section here, we have our physical exam. And then there would be a specific template also for physical exam. It would just be .pe and then PE complete, click enter, and now enter that in there. And then you'll just go ahead and click save. Moving down, you have your assessment and plan. So any of the problem lists that you put in or even orders, it will show up in here. So it makes it a lot easier to document these. Before creating our actual admissions and history physical note, one thing I do want to note is for these free text section here, on the right hand side, you have that little arrow key pointing to the right. That's your contextual view. So one handy feature of this is you can move this over to the right hand side. So I'm going to move all of these. And it makes it so much easier because now I can either dictate or document on the right hand side while I can view certain information such as their histories, their vitals, their current medications, their intake and output, and so forth, while you're kind of dictating on the right hand side. So if you don't need this, then you could always go ahead and just move it back by clicking on that same arrow pointing to the left hand side, and that would move it back to the left hand side if you prefer having a full screen. Other things that you could customize is you can move these different sections around. So one example is if I want to move my problem list up on top, I could go ahead and click it, drag it, and move it to the top here. So now it'll be my chief complaint and then my problem list. Now, going into creating our admissions history and physical report, on the very bottom here, you have your create note section. So you have your admissions history and physical, you have your consult note, progress note, procedure, and so forth. But the one we're going to be looking to create is our admission history and physical. So you'll just click on that there, and it's going to open up our report. So as you can see here, we have our assessment and plan, our chief complaint, history, present illness. So everything that we filled in will automatically generate in here that we saved. You have your problem list, procedure, and surgical history. So when you highlight a specific section, you see these three different icons. If you hover over them, just as a reminder, it's called hover to discover. So if there's any icons you're not familiar with, you can always just go ahead and hover your mouse over that specific icon. It'll tell you exactly what that does. So the X is to remove from note. The little arrow pointing to the left is insert free text. So if I click on that, it will just go ahead and allow me to type in any additional information. And then that little refresh button is just the refresh, to refresh that specific section. So you are able to remove certain things from notes that you don't need. So certain things could be blank or missing. But other things that you could do is if you sign and submit with stuff that are empty, such as your procedure and surgical history, automatically that will remove it and it'll just clean up your template, or not your template, but it'll clean up your report so it looks nice. So I'll just leave that as is. Once everything looks good, you can go ahead and click sign and submit. And then once you're done, you could click sign again once you confirm everything looks good. And then to view that document, you could go into your documentations under your table of contents. And then over here, you have your emissions history and physical here. As you can see here, there's no empty sections. Automatically, it has removed it, which is nice. Now the next thing I want to talk about is how to create your own dot phrases. So you're looking to create your own dot phrases. If you go back into your provider view and you go into any of these free text sections, you have that little last icon that's called Manage Your Auto Text within that free text section. If you click on that there, this is where you could create your own. So this was an example I've used, but you're looking to create another one. You have that little plus sign up on your top left where you can add in new dot phrases. So this is where you can add in your abbreviation, your description, and then this is where you can kind of start typing in your template and formulating it to your specific need. Other things that you can add in here is up in here, you could create a drop-down list, or you could insert pre-made templates into your dot phrase. So you could either add in your emission date, which was the one that I've created originally, and then you have up to 60 different templates or 60 different pages worth of templates that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. So the one I used was dot will example. If I was to use it through here, I could just put in dot will. As you can see here, that's the one. I click enter and it's going to insert it through here, and it'll insert the emission date and time. And you're probably wondering, can you share dot phrases with other providers or physicians? And the answer is yes, you can. So anyone that creates their own, you can actually search them up and use theirs if you like. To do that, up on your Gray Organizer toolbar, you have your auto text copy. Go ahead and click on that there. It's going to open up a new window here for your auto text. So any specific ones that you're looking to search up, any users, you can search up their name, and then automatically it will populate a bunch of their auto text that they've already using. And then from there, you can copy and paste it onto your own. And you can also change either the description or even the abbreviation that you prefer. So that is pretty much everything I want to show you for our demonstration for today's microsim, going through our admissions history and physical. Thank you for watching.